Hello, my name is Jeff Jamiello, and today I want to talk about counterfeits. And really, a counterfeit is just someone mimicking another, or I guess in the spiritual they call it destiny swapping and various other weird things. But really, it's just someone copying someone else because they think they can get ahead. And this video is for both sides. It's for the counterfeiters that are counterfeiting others. And I'd like to do that one first, because I think it's more important that they hear the message, and they would normally just click off if if it was the opposite. And the second part of this will be about people who are counterfeiting you. So if you like, let's have a little chat. Well, first of all souls are unique, and they need to grow. Copying is not really growing. So for those copying others, you're designed to be unique. And if there's a little bit of a kind of a lazy streak in that, to not want to do your own thing, because it's really your story. And you're not really following your story, you're following someone else's story because you think that you want it to be your story. It's very weird, but by copying, you actually miss out on your own destiny and mission, because you're literally missing it. You're following someone else's path. And to be honest with you, you could have had a real good path. Most people actually have a real good path, but they choose to copycat instead, which is bad. But by copying, you will experience every test that they had to do. So that means in this lifetime or any other lifetime. So, hey, they lost a brother, they lost a mother, they got, cheated on by their wife, blah, blah. You're going to experience all of that. So you'll have to do all the same choices they did. And some of the tests are very mental tests. So the question at hand is, are you strong enough? Because generally, people don't just fall from the sky where they are. If you think you can just kind of swap them out like that, it doesn't really work that way. Ironically, eventually when people actually find out and meet the original, your reputation is usually ruined and tainted forever, oddly enough. Because at this point, everyone knows you lied, and when they meet the original, it's like, oh. And it's just usually such a contrast. But usually, I would strongly recommend that you follow your own path. It's easier. It doesn't mean you can't learn how to do things, but instead of trying to go in someone else's shoes, you should probably just learn the life lesson and move on. Because that's probably the lesson you're supposed to learn, is to follow in your own footsteps. Because that is one of your soul's. If I remember correctly, usually your soul has a destiny to listen and behave. So you go down this path of, this is everything I need to do. So your soul goes down this path, and usually the first thing it's teaching you is obedience, actually, to make sure that you can follow a path. Then there's tests for uniqueness, to make sure you're unique. And you're supposed to actually pass that and be unique. But if you keep copying, you're not. And that's where you're kind of failing the test. So reevaluate being yourself, because that's probably the test you're feeling. But I wanted to address that. I said it's a correctable thing. It's just follow your own path. Usually if you follow your own path, it's a little harder, but the problem is you have to make your own decisions. And that means you're going to be judged on your own decisions. Technically, you're being judged by decisions you make now, and that's why you're kind of getting hit with karma for being a counterfeit. But anyway, I thought I'd want to address that for those that are counterfeiting others. There's a reason why all souls are unique and they have their own path. And the Lord wants to make sure of that. So, just letting you know. Now, I'd like to address the rest of this about people who are being counterfeited by others. I don't like it either. It's annoying. But in a weird way, it's also an honor. No one's going to like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. You don't mimic garbage. You don't mimic, trailer trash. You generally mimic good things. So if you're doing good and it's the perception that you're going to be doing good in the world, people will mimic you. I look at that as doing something right. Even though no one tells me, but I'm doing something right. That's the way I look at that. Eventually, karma does kick in and balance will be restored. That usually means the person who's mimicking you or counterfeiting you, they get found out to be a mimicker. Or they can't back up what they say or whatever, because there's a lot of that. Ironically, people who counterfeit you usually say horrible things about you that usually what they're doing, which is kind of weird. So they kind of want to say, hey, you do this, you do that, you do that. But anyone who actually knows you don't do that. So it's kind of like, are we talking about the same person here? So usually when they finally meet you, life is very interesting for them because there's only so many ways that can go. And usually it's terrible. Usually they lose all their friends, they get alienated. I go, because what friends did you actually have? The friends you had were mocking, the counterfeit. Mocking you, really. So as a counterfeit, you're actually doing a horrible job. Because you can't really outdo the original. And that's why it's very funny when they try to mock you and they want to copy you, but they want to be a better you. And it's like, well, you're the original. You can't be a better you. And that's where they kind of miss it. And the point of all that actually is for you to be you. It's nothing to do with anything else. Counterfeiters come and go. They eventually get found out and they're off and they go. I really wish they would kind of get a life, because actually the Lord is going to keep punishing them until they decide to do their own path. Even if it's completely wrong, do your own path. Do not follow other people's paths. But for some reason, a lot of souls decide they want to go down the easy route. They want to press the easy button and, I want to go this way. And say, well, it worked out for them. I go, and we're back to the saving grace that I get in life is that the Lord told me that every copycat that I have is going to have to take all the same tests I did and has to have all the same answers just to get in the ballpark where I am. That's kind of odd. It's kind of odd for the Lord to say, but at the same time, not really. I don't think anyone's actually ever lived through that one, because I have multiple lifetimes of tests that I've done. So really, from a counterfeiter's perspective, it's really not worth counterfeiting, because at this point, you're total train wreck on karma for like a long time. You're pretty much cursed for the next 8 to 10 iterations. And you won't know why. That's because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And you're not going to end up with the same result because you didn't do it in the same period of time. So, even though time is an illusion, but it's just kind of funny in that everyone wants to emulate somebody else. You look at it and say, well, I want to envy, I want to be like Trump. Well, not really. I don't want to be like Trump. Just like most people will say, if I could change things in my past, I wouldn't change a damn thing. Because I know this. Every decision I made brought me to today. In different timelines, I've made different decisions. I'm in different places. That's different timelines. That's not here. But right now, I am right here. You have to generally be good with the now. Am I good where I am? Yeah. I'm homeless in a car, and I'm good where I am. Think about that a second. That's the point. The point is, people are going to counterfeit what people are going to do. Question is do you have the endurance and the strength to carry it on? to do it, because it's not an easy road, being the counterfeiter or the counterfeitee. Counterfeiting, as long as you don't care, they can do what they want. As I said, I'm just reminded that eventually karma does kick in, balance does kick in, and they get what they get what they sow. So it's not going to be good. So I just want to let everyone know that it's about counterfeits, and hopefully you have a great day.